Good morning. Welcome to All Souls, part of the liberal faith tradition in Braintree, Massachusetts, which began in 1833. In our Unitarian Universalist community, we strive to create a welcoming and affirming space for all, recognizing and celebrating the inherent worth and dignity of every person. This commitment to diversity informs all aspects of our shared life, especially our worship services. We believe our services should be a space where every individual feels respected for their unique identity and experiences. We are committed to working together to build a truly inclusive and loving community where everyone belongs. My name is Kelly Kinsman, and I use she and her pronouns. It's my pleasure to be your service associate this morning. I am an older woman, Caucasian woman with long purple hair. I have black rimmed glasses on this morning, and I'm wearing a multicolored sweater. We project images and song lyrics on the wall where I'm appearing now during the service. During the time for joys and concerns, we can come to you with a microphone, or you can come to the front. Assistive listening devices are available as you enter the sanctuary. If you are visiting us for the first time and would like to learn more about All Souls or Unitarian Universalism, please fill out a connection card found in the Zoom chat or in the pews, and we will be happy to follow up with you. Our services are live streamed on Zoom. You can activate Zoom's closed caption feature during the service by clicking the CC icon at the bottom of your screen or by selecting live transcript. After the service, our remote participants are invited to stay online for a virtual social hour, and folks in the building are invited to gather in the parish hall for refreshments. Our chalice lighting words this morning are entitled Why We're Here by Eric Walker Wickerstrom. Here, today, in this space and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way. Please remain seated for our chalice song, number 1009 in the Teal Hymnal, Meditation on Breathing. Please join me in reading our congregational covenant. We covenant to create a caring, affirming, and inclusive community that invites us to become our best selves and serve the wider community and the world. We light our green earth candle to affirm our commitment to caring for the planet that is our home.
Good morning. I want to describe myself to you or those who need me to describe myself, whatever. I am a female elder with short gray hair and glasses. I'm wearing a dark shirt and a gray striped scarf. My pronouns are she, her. Today, it is my hope to share with you some lessons that I have been learning about communication. I have learned that successful communication happens when both the speaker and the listener are jointly engaged in the process of the exchange of ideas. I am also engaged in learning how to listen more fully to my inner self, and will tell you a little bit about that today as well. Please stand as you are willing or able for our opening hymn, 134, Our World is One World.
Our first reading this morning is our words from Jacob Trapp. If it is language that makes us human, one half of language is to listen. Silence can exist without speech, but speech cannot live without silence. Listen to the speech of others. Listen even more to their silence. To pray is to listen to the revelations of nature, to the meanings of events. To listen to music is to listen also to silence, and to find the stillness deepened and enriched. As we gather in community today, we take a moment to share the heartfelt joys and please remain seated for our centering hymn, number 1040, Hush, Somebody's Calling My Name. Our second reading this morning is called Listening with the Heart by Gary Kowalski. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all. Maybe it means just listening, unplugging the TV, turning off the computer, quieting the mental chatter and distractions. Maybe it means listening to the birds and the insects, the wind in the leaves, the creaking and groaning of the trees, noticing who else is out there, not far away, but nearby. Sitting so still we can hear our heartbeat, watch our breath, the gentle whoosh of air, the funny noises from our own insides, marveling at the body we take so much for granted. Maybe it means listening to our dreams, paying more attention to what we really want from life, and less attention to all the nagging, scolding voices from our past. Or maybe it's all about listening to each other, not thinking ahead to how we can answer or rebut or parry or advise or admonish, but actually being present to each other. Perhaps if we just sit quietly, we'll overhear a peace whispering through the centuries that's missing from the clamor of the moment. Maybe prayer means listening to the silences between the words, noticing the negativity of space, the vast, undifferentiated, and nameless wonder that underlies it all. Maybe prayer doesn't mean talking to God at all, but listening with the heart to the angel choirs all around us. Those who have ears, let them hear.
Each service, we have an opportunity to give thanks for the blessings we have received in our lives and in the life of our community. Our offering is a chance to give back in support of our work and outreach. Those on Zoom may submit your offering electronically by following the link in the chat, or you may mail it to All Souls Church at the address provided in the chat. At this time, our morning offering will be given and received. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it was only 25 years ago when I worked as an aide in a Braintree elementary school library. After 3 years, I moved into a new job as a special needs paraprofessional working one-on-one with a second grade student who I will call Adam. Adam had cerebral palsy, or CP, which is a group of conditions caused by brain damage during birth. There's a wide range of symptoms and levels of severity that people with CP experience, but they usually involve the movement, posture, and speech. My student was confined to a motorized wheelchair with a joystick on its armrest. And Adam was adept at maneuvering this motorized wheelchair through the school hallways, often with alacrity, meaning with more speed than I was comfortable with. So I would grab the joystick and try to slow him down and steer for my own safety as well as his. Adam could speak, but it was difficult for most people to understand what he said. Nevertheless, he was included in a regular education classroom for part of his day and was also scheduled for individual and small group instruction in a resource room with a trained special education teacher. Now, my job in the library had been a pretty solitary one. I would rattle around by myself for half of each week and assist the half-time librarian with her classes during the other half of the week. So there were opportunities to interact with teachers and students, but most of the time I felt, actually a lot of the time, maybe not most, but a lot of the time I was alone, comfortably rattling around this library, puttering with the books. That was just fine for a while. But this new job was quite a different experience. Aside from a lunch break during which another aide took my place with Adam, I was with him for his entire day from the time he got on the school bus. Yeah, I rode the bus to pick him up at his home, and until the end of the day. I sat with him and his friends during lunch, and I went out to recess with him. Now, I vividly remember my first day on the job with Adam, but I don't remember so much what happened in school. What I remember is how I felt when I came home. And I was absolutely exhausted. I was wiped out. My cranium was filled with nothing but a mushy mass of brain cells, and my muscles, my whole body was just all squishy, like Jell-O. It was all new people, a new building, and suddenly being with people all the time, compared to my job in the library. And my brain was on overload from my effort to decipher Adam's speech. In order to understand what he was saying, I had to look and listen really intently, and there was nothing easy about that. The extraordinary effort it took to communicate with Adam helped me realize that I, in general, would shy away from people who spoke with heavy accents, or people who had disabilities that affected their speech. It wasn't that I was afraid of them, I was afraid of failing to understand. And if I failed to understand them, then I would fail at constructing an appropriate response to whatever they said. Well, as it turned out, Adam was a generous and patient communicator. His resource teachers had taught him to expect that people might not understand what he was saying, so they taught him some strategies to help people when they did not understand what he was saying. This happened a lot, and there were many times when I had trouble, and in this case, the student was my teacher. One tip he learned was to say his message another way. For instance, if I did not understand him when he told me that he was thirsty, he might reword the request and say, "I would like some water," or "Give me a drink, please." That word thirsty is a little complicated and not in the top of mind. But this is an extremely helpful tool for all of us. How many times do we use the exact same words when we aren't being understood, except we just say it louder? Sometimes it's much more helpful to find different words when louder isn't helping. Another tip was to provide the context for his remark. For instance, with Halloween coming up, Adam might have said out of the blue, "I want to be a giraffe." And I might not have understood what he said or what that last word, that giraffe, a little complicated, and it was also out of context. He could have followed up with the words, "For Halloween, I want to be an animal like a giraffe." That would provide a lot of context and sort of framework for me to figure out what he wanted. So providing the context would have been a tremendous help to me. Now, as I get older and I'm living with age-related hearing loss, I find that knowing myself, finding the context of a remark, helps me understand comments that others have made, and it provide context for my own remarks that helps me communicate with others. And Diana today just said something about I forget what the word was, Diana. Hassock, the hassock. And I think I asked you 3 times. And I said, what? And so she explained to me what she was talking about, but it took a while. So my most vivid memory of solving communication problems with Adam took place really early in the school year when Adam was asked about his summer vacation. And he traveled somewhere, but nobody could figure out where. Adam repeated the words to the resource teacher, to me, and to every person, adult or child, who entered the resource classroom that morning, including the school secretary and the school principal. Everybody was enlisted to help figure out where Adam had been over the summer. Although, unfortunately, I was not there to witness the big moment of clarity. I must have been out on my lunch break. I heard that someone had finally gotten it. I think it was the school principal after all. And I don't know what clue finally helped to decode the word, but Adam was trying to tell us that he had been with his family to Oklahoma. Oklahoma. It's a state name that would not be top of mind to a bunch of New Englanders, and with very few handholds for a second grader to use to reword it or provide any context. Working with Adam was a time of personal growth for me. I learned to listen carefully with an open mind and open heart. Every word that he said had my full attention. I became adept at decoding his speech patterns, and those who were uninitiated often registered surprise that I had actually understood anything that he'd said. And I became comfortable telling him when I had not understood something he said, without embarrassment or feeling ashamed. I held a lot of respect for Adam for just being a kid in the world. I'm not sure that he understood the obstacles that he faced, because for him, those obstacles were just a part of his everyday reality. As we got to know one another, I felt that Adam trusted me, and I valued that trust. After 2 years as Adam's aide in the 2nd and 3rd grades, I moved on to join a program for a dozen high school students with special needs. No longer afraid of not understanding something, I interacted with students with a wide range of abilities and disabilities. I was able to relate to each student as a human being of worth without regard to their respective diagnoses. I found that every student had their own personality, things that gave them joy, things they were good at, and things they didn't like to do. I tried to approach each student on their own terms and came to appreciate each of them in their own way for who they were. Reflecting on this experience, I've asked myself, what if I intentionally employed the same principles that Adam had learned in my own everyday life now? Careful listening, providing context and rewording my statements when I've not initially been understood, and letting people know when I have not understood them. Really, how different are interactions with people with special needs from interactions with people who are traditionally abled? I invite you to ask yourselves, how often do I listen with half an ear while the rest of my attention is on something else? Like, what else do I have to do today? Or like, what's that ping on my phone? I wonder what's coming in from the cyberspace. I admit that sometimes I nod my head and smile as if I really heard or understood something, even if I haven't. I could have just nodded and smiled at Diana this morning and had no idea, and it would have been all good. Instead, I harassed her until she made sure I understood. I'm apt to do this because I don't want to call attention to my hearing loss. But the first step in understanding my communication partners would be to let them know when I haven't understood something they've said. So doing so would be a sign of respect for myself, as if to say, I am worthy enough to ask you to help me understand what you've said. And it's a sign of respect for you, as if to say, your words are important to me and worthy of my effort to understand you. Being fully present is a foundational skill in the set of skills that was called active listening. We've all probably heard about that. But we don't hear much about the skills to employ when you are the one speaking. If you are speaking to someone with hearing loss, like me, sometimes speaking louder or more slowly or with a deeper register in your voice can help. But if I am not getting it, then I should explain to you that I haven't understood and ask you to provide some more context to your remark or word it another way. I believe that each of us has our own special needs. In our childhood or in adulthood, we've all experienced challenges that have left our psyches, our inner selves, wounded and vulnerable. Many of us have built walls around those tender spots to protect ourselves from further harm. These sensitive areas aren't always obvious to others, and sometimes they aren't even known to ourselves. But they can come into play in unexpected ways and at unanticipated times. All Souls friend and author Emily Hedrick has written a book about how these wounds sometimes can manifest in physical ailments in our bodies. I maintain that our woundedness can also manifest in the ways we communicate with each other or choose not to communicate. All Souls endorsed a congregational covenant in 2022, and we read its summary statement each week. But one of the statements in the long version of that covenant reads, "To further our goal of building an intentional community, we promise each other to listen to one another with curiosity and the intent of understanding, and speak to one another with respect, honesty, and kindness, so that all may be heard." In the time since I wrote the initial draft of this sermon, which is a year ago, I have embarked on a journey that is helping me practice a different kind of listening, bending an ear to listen to my inner self, to try to understand my inner psyche. The tools for listening to my inner self are entirely different from the tools and strategies that I have just described to you. 3 years ago, I began practicing listening to my inner self through a weekly Oasis wellness call on Zoom. These calls, which I still attend, use poetry as an entry point and create a force field of non-judgmental acceptance where I can discover and explore my unique feelings and perspectives. Now I have branched out to in-person retreats that provide the space and support to dig deeper, to train my ear to what's happening in my inner life. A cornerstone of each of these retreats has been the convening of a small group activity called Circles of Trust, or Courage Circles. The format of these circles was developed by Quaker educator and author Parker Palmer, who in his book Hidden Wholeness writes that the soul is like a wild animal, tough, resilient, resourceful, savvy, and self-sufficient. It knows how to survive in hard places. I translate what he calls the soul into words like inner self, inner life, heart, psyche. So Palmer advises that my tough and tenacious heart is trying to keep me safe and help me survive all the time. But Palmer also writes that the soul is shy, like a wild animal. To see one's inner self takes patience and quiet expectation. And he warns that well-meaning people who preach and teach, admonish and advise can inadvertently drive the soul into hiding. The practices employed in Courage Circles combine unconditional love or regard with hopeful expectancy, creating a space that both safeguards and encourages the inner journey. In November, I participated in such a circle as a focus person. The initial question that I posed to myself and shared with my group was, how do I want to be in the world in this third of my life? Getting old, right? It's an aging question. I am grateful for the 4 people who posed open and generous questions to me and compassionately accompanied me in my inner journey. Their gentle and generous attention during the 2-hour session created a safe vessel that facilitated my conversation with myself. I felt safe following a thread of inquiry in which I identified things that seem fairly obvious to me now, but at the time I could not have articulated on my own. One example is that after I described how my time seems to be sucked up by random, unpredictable demands, I was able to name that I need to prioritize time set aside for myself and for my personal interests. It has been a gift for my inner me to know that I am aware of our need for more personal time and that I will work to make that need a higher priority than the other demands in my life. So my inner self asks, "Can you hear me now?" And I am grateful to say, yes, I am trying to listen. You are important to me and are worthy of my effort to understand you. In conclusion, I leave you with the following wishes. When we speak, may we take responsibility for making ourselves not only heard, but understood. When we listen, may we pay attention and let the speaker know when we have not understood. And finally, as we acknowledge and befriend our inner lives, may this process enable us to deepen the interactions within ourselves and consequently with the world around us. May it be so. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Maureen, thank you. It's time to stand as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Our closing words are from the Reverend Scott Taylor. Who we listen to is who we become. Sometimes the world outside us can be so loud making it hard to hear those voices we once knew so well, voices that once knew us so well. And so to silence we turn, to listen for the echoes of memories that make us whole, the pain of others that reawakens our hearts, and the beauty of this wildly generous world that wants us back. Friends, in the quiet of this space, let us not just listen for clarity and guidance, but to become larger. Those voices whispering from deep within and not just calling us home, they are home. We don't have conversations, we are conversations. We must remember who we listen to is who we become. What we listen for determines our path. Yes, sometimes the world outside us can be so loud, and so may the stillness we find here companion us and care for us, ensuring that we never get lost. So be it. And we extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment, those we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you. We have a few announcements this morning. First, we'd like to give special thanks to our participants in the morning service. Our lay speaker this morning was Mary Mitchell, and what a great job. Our service associate was me, Kelly Kinsman. Joe Maloney is our usher. Our tech team is Jessica Elstrom and Don Swanson, and believe me, their job is not easy. And our music director, Jacob Clapper. Thank you very much for all the great music you provide. Our upcoming events include the budget hearing today that will be held today after the service. I don't know if there's a Zoom component to that or not. Our annual meeting is on Sunday, June 8th, after the service. The Social Action and Environmental Committee meets on Tuesday, May 20th at 7:15 Eastern Time. The committee had postponed last week's meeting to this Tuesday. Connection Circle meets on Wednesday, May 21st at 2:30 p.m. on Zoom. The topic is the art of book sculptures. The deadline for submissions to the June Chimes is Friday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. Let's see. The writing group meets on Wednesday, May 28th at 4 o'clock on Zoom. The writing prompt is something that hurt me, but that I didn't tell anyone about. Did you ever not tell the truth to avoid an argument? Did you ever stay behind to make sure everyone else was comfortable?